You are listening to the Why Smart Women podcast, the podcast that helps smart women work out why we repeatedly make the wrong decisions and how to make better ones. From relationships, career choices, finances, to faux fur jackets and kale smoothies. Every moment of every day, we're making decisions. Let's make them good ones. I'm your host, Annie McCubbin, and as a woman of a certain age, I've made my own share of really bad decisions. Not my husband. I don't mean him, though. I did go through some shockers to find him. And I wish this podcast had been around to save me from myself. This podcast will give you insights into the working of your own brain, which will blow your mind. I acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which I'm recording and you are listening on this day. Always was, always will be, Aboriginal land. You are listening to the Why Smart Women podcast, the podcast that helps smart women work out why we repeatedly make the wrong decisions and how to make better ones. From relationships, career choices, finances, to faux fur jackets and kale smoothies. Every moment of every day, we're making decisions. Let's make them good ones. I'm your host, Annie McCubbin, and as a woman of a certain age, I've made my own share of really bad decisions. Not my husband. I don't mean him, though. I did go through some shockers to find him. And I wish this podcast had been around to save me from myself. This podcast will give you insights into the working of your own brain, which will blow your mind. I acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which I'm recording and you are listening on this day. Always was, always will be, Aboriginal land. Well, hello, smart women, and welcome back to the Why Smart Women podcast. Today I am not broadcasting, I am podcasting, which is different, from the northern beaches in Sydney, New South Wales, Australia, where it's a little cold, but I have been languishing in the sun in the middle of the Indian Ocean in Mauritius, and it was completely delightful. And I've flown back into, well, I know compared to some of you who live in the United States and Canada and Europe that our winters are not substantial, but to us they are. To Australians, if it drops below 15 degrees, then we need, full-length puffer jackets. So I am suffering through the cold, so thank you for your sympathy. And today I am talking to my very, very good friend, Martin Bella, because we have a shared concern about something which we're going to tell you about. Hello, Martin.
Hello, Annie. Is that concern about how grey my beard's getting?
No, I tell you what, the concern is about the fact that I fished for a compliment, and I said to Martin, because Martin has given me the nickname of Tish, Morticia, from the Addams family, and so I said to Martin, do you like my hair? I've had it straightened. And his retort was, yes, I see that you've covered the grey. So,
Annie, I had a number of replies, and I just went with the one I thought was best. Like, I wasn't going to mention anything about what it's done for your upper lip, because I think that would have been just too harsh. So you've got to specify. If you'd have said the hair on my head,
yeah,
with regard to the colour of the straightness, I would have said, I think it is wonderful.
Thank you. It's too late now. There's no recovery from it, is there? See, I've trained David. As soon as I walk in the door, David scans. He does like this full body scan. And then his brain is alerted to anything that is new and improved.
Oh, my goodness, my hair looks magnificent.
See, look, just like that. And then he goes, oh, my goodness, your hair looks magnificent. And that's good, and that's a lot of brownie points to David. You so far have earned 0.
But I have learnt, many years ago I learnt how to cope with the red dress, blue dress question.
Oh, tell me about that.
Well, what it is when your wife says to you, do you think I should wear the red dress or the blue dress?
Yes.
There is no safe way out.
It's loaded. It's loaded. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Because if you say whichever one,
yeah,
I say the red dress.
She goes, why don't you like the blue?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Now, what I've learnt, it's a form of deflection.
Good. Oh, hang on. Let's role play it. Hello, darling. So we're going out tonight. I've remembered. You probably forgot, but luckily I'm in charge of our social calendar. So what should I wear, the red dress or the blue dress?
Annie, why don't you invite your mother to come out to dinner with us?
Okay. Well, I don't know.
That's the answer. Because
what if she's dead?
The pain of having to put up with your mother-in-law is nowhere near the pain of trying to get out of the red dress, blue dress question.
I see.
It's a matter of deciding to go with the pain of least pain.
I think it's a little clunky, but I don't know. I might recommend David tries it next time. But my mother has passed away, so I don't know. I don't know in that regard if it's going to work. Anyway, enough of us being completely ridiculous. I'm also like to complain for a minute because I'm quite jet lagged. Thanks for the sympathy. So the thing that Martin and I have a shared concern about, and it is in fact very serious, is that along with the other vaccine refusal and vaccine hesitancy that us in our little group are trying to deal with, there's now been a serious upswing in new parents refusing to give their newborn babies vitamin K injections. And this is very, very serious. And Martin is going to explain why it's serious and a very, very dangerous practice.
Well, this, for your listeners, this is kind of the second time we've done this podcast. The previous time, while you were gallivanting in Mauritius, the sound didn't go so well. So, and I said in that one that years ago, when I was practicing in that, I could have recited this chapter and verse. I knew the basics. What I've actually done is sat down and gone over exactly the reasons for vitamin K, because I think it's important. Vitamin K is hugely important for clotting, for blood clotting, and for the regulation of factors involved with that, and for blood not clotting. It's a regulating factor.
So why can't they get it, for instance, from the mother? Why can't it, why can't it cross the placenta?
Well, I'm not exactly sure of the why, but it just doesn't do it. Now, the next problem we have is that breast milk doesn't supply any significant amount of vitamin K. And further to that, young babies don't have the gut bacteria that we develop as we age to produce vitamin K, because that's one of the places we get it. It's from our own gut bacteria. So babies deficient, and that deficiency can lead to unregulated bleeds.
And could they, for instance, have a bleed in the brain, or is that possible?
Well, this is the interesting thing about it. There's 3 different types of bleed that they can get. The early onset, that's in the first 24 hours. Brain, skin, and abdominal cavity. So it's not bleeding into your gastrointestinal tract. It's into that intra-abdominal space. And that can be, obviously, you know, not enough blood, you die. The other thing is it can put pressure on lungs. It can do things like that. Then you've got classical, which is the 2 days to about a week. And again, but it's a bleed into the gastrointestinal tract, nose, skin, and any surgery sites that young males, it used to be even where they've been circumcised, that sort of thing. So, and it's an issue where you've got to have a minor surgery, it can bleed.
Right.
Then you've got late onset, 1 week to 6 months. And this is extremely dangerous because it's often due to secondary causes like a gallbladder issues, cystic fibrosis, severe diarrhea, liver dysfunction. All of those can cause, that liver dysfunction can stop the absorption of vitamin K. And the first sign is noticing symptoms of an intracranial bleed. So you're not going to notice it until the baby or the child starts to show the symptoms of, hemorrhage in that brain space.
Right.
Right. So it's very, very serious, isn't it?
It's certainly nothing to be sneezed about, and it's not just something that once you're over those first couple of days, you're home free. This is an issue for a long time.
So it goes back to that, unfortunately, that same issue, because I was reading some data, and in Britain, the refusal of vitamin K has gone up 77% in the last 3 years. And that results to about 5%, which is a lot, of parents refusing to give their babies the vitamin K. Now, this has just been normal practice for a very, very long time. It's just been, the baby is born, they get a shot. I can remember it with my own children. So what has happened is that the anti-vaxxers have incorporated vitamin K into their tranche of vaccines. Or it's not even a vaccine, right? It's just a vitamin shot, right? But they've included it. And then we have clueless influencers influencing parents with words like toxic. Now, unfortunately, the word toxic, at this point, we should just expunge it from the language, because it's now, instead of it being a word that we would use to describe, a specific thing like a toxic mushroom, it's now everywhere. So they hear the word toxic from some terrible anti-vaxxer that's probably going to sell them some ridiculous supplement. They go to the hospital. The child goes to get this life-saving, potentially life-saving shot, and the parents refuse. And it's an absolute disaster. Yep.
Only the biggest problem, most of these wellness influencers and all of this sort of thing, the reason they do this is to create a market.
Yep.
People need to understand this. They create the market and then they sell alternatives.
Exactly.
And these alternatives are not tested. If you want to look, I think the classic is salt. So no one likes just ordinary old table salt anymore. And it's very important because it has, like, iodized salt is important. Iodine is hugely important, hugely essential. And oftentimes, like, table salt can be fortified with that. But people start talking about table salt being an issue. Now,
yep.
Salt is sodium chloride, NaCl. That's
right.
What salt is. Anything else is an additive to it.
Right.
So when you start talking about Himalayan
pink salt, everyone thinks it's just the bee's knees, right?
Look, it has other things in it.
Like?
So you need to look at what does it actually have in it. A lot of those salts have very high levels of mercury. So these things that are pushed as being good for you are actually completely the opposite. And the absolute classic is the business about mercury in vaccines. Well, most of it's been removed. It was a mercury in a form that doesn't stay in your system. It gets expunged. And there was far more mercury in an ordinary can of tuna than there was in the vaccine.
Yeah, but of course, and there you have this notion again of toxicity, right? Of toxicity almost versus natural. And just back to that with your mention of iodized salt, I had massive goiter that I'd ignored for 20 years. And it had to be removed, and they had to remove half my thyroid. And the endocrinologist, the surgeon, said, "You've just got to have." Oh, David's just handed me wine. Yeah, we're just talking about when I had the surgery, and Mark Sywak said to me, "You've got to have iodized salt. Just get some plain old sacks of salt, which is like $4, right, from the supermarket, and forget all that crappy, ridiculous Himalayan salt." And of course, as Martin said, it's none of this is regulated. Someone said to me, because I'm trying to write a little series at the moment about a pharmacy, because I'm pretty cranky about the selling of wellness into pharmacies, and somebody said to me, "Well, why aren't you anti-pharmaceuticals?" I'm like, well, of course, I think the pharmaceutical industry as well has a lot to answer for, but it gets stacks of criticism, whereas wellness, which is worth 5 times the amount as Big Pharma. Big Wellness is worth 5 times the amount. It's worth $6 trillion. But who criticises it? Nobody.
Well, I'm going to cut in there on the whole, because I'm very sceptical of pharmacists selling this stuff. In Australia, pharmaceutical products, and I'm sorry to get political, but
No, do.
they are regulated by a Therapeutic Goods Administration,
The TGA, yep.
whom One Nation wants to get rid of.
For those people that don't live in Australia, and we have been over this a little bit, I've mentioned it with Martin before, and the Girk and I often talk about it. One Nation is would you call them fringe now? Are they still fringe?
Well, they should be. And to be honest, I think the best way to explain them
Go.
They're Trumpian.
They are
The
Trumpian.
individual I'm talking about that's leading the charge, Micro Malcolm Roberts, is basically a scaled-down version of, and I hate the term RFK because it makes him sound innocuous. The man is a menace.
He's a menace.
He is responsible for the deaths of people.
Yeah, 100%.
I won't resolve from that at all.
Yep.
But what is getting me is all of those pharmaceuticals go through the TGA. Wellness products don't.
Exactly.
Pharmacists are selling both, which I think is unconscionable.
Yep.
So they are undermining the standing of legitimate products.
100%.
I don't disagree with what you said. You know, there are questions got to be asked of pharmaceutical companies. But just to take it one step further, slightly off topic, One Nation also want to go through our PBA, our Pharmaceutical Benefit Scheme, with a view of pulling medicines off it. Now, what our PBA does is it looks at bulk deals overseas, buys drugs at a better cost, and then subsidises it. So a drug that may well cost $300 a dose in America, in Australia here you could probably pick up for $7. Now, that's not to say we haven't had to pay for it, but
it's subsidised.
This is one of the wonderful manifestations of democratic socialism.
Yep, 100%. Now, unfortunately, so just for those American listeners, our TGA is the equivalent of your FDA, correct, Martin?
I think so.
Yeah, that's right. So what?
Yes, it is.
So what they want to do is follow in the footsteps, and you want of Trump and RFK, brainworm. And we note that there has been a change, that Trump has off you go. Good girl.
Okay,
off you go, Martin. Off you go. That there has been a change in the vaccine schedule for children. I mean, it's absolutely criminal. And I note that the RFK has come out way too late and recommended that parents vaccinate, their children against measles. Way too late.
Well, why? Because his ass was on the line. Let's be honest. It is a massive outbreak. It can't be hidden. It can't be deflected from anymore. He has had to do it. And to be honest, it's too late.
It's way too late. It's way too late. It's absolutely disgusting that they did that. And, of course, he had the Children's Health Protection Company or something. I mean, he's an absolute shyster. And he's just, he's been grifting for years and years and years, just selling absolutely pointless, as we repeatedly say, all of us in this cohort that we're sort of in, repeatedly say this supplement, this wellness industry is unregulated and dangerous. Back to the notion of the wellness or the halo effect that's over anything that's natural, like the idea of Himalayan rock salt, correct?
It is, and I want to cover this idea of natural, but first, let's get back to
my hair. Do you want to get back to my hair? How nice I look. You
look wonderful.
Thank you, go.
Any better? Did I do okay?
That's really good, go.
So I saw a clip. I did a piece on it where RFK was talking about, and look, he just lies. There's no ifs or buts.
Yep.
He lies.
Yep.
About studies and about this and that. They're lies. They're just not true. But he was talking about how they have, and this is why they don't endorse the MMR and all of this sort of thing. They started talking, and
which is measles, mumps, rubella for anybody who's unaware. Yep.
And he used the bullshit from Andrew Wakefield, who in 19 brought up or did these so-called studies, he was paid under the table by the lawyer that was trying to get an injury claim out on these 7 children.
Yep.
The children.
Are you talking about the Wakefield? You're talking about the So Wakefield's sample size of children, I think it was 11.
11?
I think it was 11 children.
I know that.
Yeah, that's all right. It was that was the sample size that he used, no controls, and then he came to this conclusion. Go on, Martin.
Those children were supplied through the lawyer that was going for the injury claim. Their medical records were falsified. They falsified their data. It was produced in the Lancet. A journalist, I can't remember his name, Brian, someone hunted it down, took 4 years, everything retracted. What's his name? Wakefield was disbarred.
It's made no difference.
It continues. Now,
yep.
This is the stupidity and the lack of science. So they've expanded the definition of what autism is.
Who has?
It's a spectrum. Once upon a time, we recognised this much. Now it's opened up, so people are diagnosed.
Yep.
I can remember the number of kids at school that were they had behavioural problems. Or
they're a little bit
overactive.
Yep.
And they were autists. Now, what he said was, this increase means it's got to be environmental. He made a huge jump from environmental to vaccines.
Yeah.
No basis for that.
No.
And his justification was that if autism always existed at those rates, how come we don't see old people with autism? Now, the stupidity of that is unbelievable. First of all, we do. Secondly, a lot of autistic people don't survive to old age because of poor health care, or access to health care and things like that.
Yeah.
The other thing is that people on the spectrum learn to mask it.
Of course they do.
They learn to in some way. And the other thing is that as someone ages, rather than saying they're on the spectrum, we just say, they're a grumpy bastard, or, oh, God.
It's just odd Uncle Harry, right? Not Harry, not you, Harry, that's cutting this. And, of course, I read this.
Extended family had an Uncle Harry that...
Of course we did. We've got it. It's all through my family. And... can I just say one thing? I read this great meme, which is they say that vaccines cause autism, but in fact, autism causes vaccines because it's the science, of course, is full of people on the spectrum because they're the only ones with the focus. You know, you won't find me discovering anything because I've got the focus of Dory, right? Do you know what I mean? Whereas they've got the hyperfocus. So, in fact, thanks for that. Thanks for noticing. Yep. So, of course, people with autism, they're the ones that make the discoveries that cause medical breakthroughs like vaccines. I love that.
You really, or anyone listening needs to go, and there's a movie about it now, but research the story of Temple Grandin.
Yeah, I know it. It's great. It's great.
When I was a hell of a lot younger, I heard about her. I actually saw an interview with her. She wears the satiny Western shirts and whatever.
Yeah,
and I just
she's awesome.
Fascinated with her description of how she worked things out.
Yep.
How she had to learn to respond.
Yes.
You know, and the movie, I think, I haven't seen it. I've seen the shorts, but I think it's pretty well done.
Yeah.
So,
and we know for a fact now that autism, in all its, the entire, neurodivergent spectrum of it, is in the gene. You just have to look at a multi-generational behavioural issue and go, there it is. My family...
so true.
It's absolutely... I can track it. I won't say which members of the family, but we have definitely got members in this family who are on the spectrum. David went, yeah. All of them extremely bright with hyperfocus, right? And I can watch it go from grandfather to father to son. It's in the gene. And yet you've got, I don't know if you'd be familiar with Brian Brown and Rachel Ward, wouldn't you?
Oh, yes.
Brian Brown.
I had a huge crush on Rachel Ward.
Well, you can give that up now. She was very pretty back in the Thornbirds day. But, Brian Brown, we've got this actor. What?
That's so rude.
It's true.
I like her natural look. I like the way that she just...
Oh, just because she hasn't had her hair straightened, Martin.
I think, well, she's nowhere near as pretty as you.
Thank you. Oh, look, it's late. It's late in the podcast, but you're doing well.
You are so shallow. Seriously.
I'm so shallow. The thing is, Rachel Ward has come out and gone that vaccines cause autism. And when the journalist said...
Oh, no.
Yes.
That's it. She's gone.
I know she's gone. And then when the journalist said, how do you know that? She went like this. Well, I don't know. What else would it be? Read a little bit of science and work it out. So now I'm shot with her. She's gone.
No, you have destroyed me there, and yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Look,
sorry, not sorry.
Let's talk about something that I really don't like.
Oh, is it not me?
No, apart from that. That line, it's natural.
Ah! Yep.
Oh. That is sand in my underpants, that line. It is just... It drives me insane.
Yeah, why? Tell me why. Unpack it for me.
This idea that nature is, and I've written a piece on it a couple of days ago that was stimulated by a conversation. This idea that nature is, benevolent, warm and fuzzy.
That cares about you. It cares. Nature cares. That's the notion.
Garbage.
It's garbage.
Nature cares for the species. It doesn't care for the individual.
Can you explain that to me, please?
Well, I'm actually going to go a bit deeper. Sometimes it doesn't even care for the species because ultimately, as I said in my piece, species are winked out like birthday candles in a hurricane in the millions of years we've been around.
Like dodos.
Ultimately,
dodos.
Well, that was bloody sailors eating them.
Was it?
Probably your autistic...
Mauritian friends.
Anyway, what it means is that nature is concerned, if it is concerned with species, it doesn't matter how many individuals die and how they die. It truly doesn't. What it's concerned with is that the species propagates, keeps going.
Yeah.
And you've got to remember, nature is probably just as concerned with that bear that kills you and eats you as it is with your well-being.
So the bear is natural, is it not?
The bear is natural. So are the gut bacteria in the bear, where the bear deposits.
The bear shits in the woods.
The microorganisms, the grass, all of that, it's all nature. But the absolute classic, as I always say, is why do so many of these people that seem to think that nature is absolutely wonderful, why do they need glasses?
Yeah, why do they? Why didn't nature provide perfect vision?
That is exactly my point. The other thing, to be honest, if our much vaunted immune system was as good as they think...
Oh, my God, the immune system crap. Go on.
Like, I'll give you an analogy first.
Do.
If you... Well, a young child that's never seen a dog...
Yeah.
Say fluffy dogs on TV.
Yeah.
Sees the dog out there. It'll walk up to it to try and pat it. It doesn't know whether or the signs as to whether the dog is dangerous or whether the dog is friendly.
Fluffy, yeah.
And it's just as likely to be killed. It's the same with our immune system. If the immune system sees something that it's never seen before, it takes time to gather the soldiers to fight whatever it is.
Hence,
that's what vaccines do. It gives them a little skirmish to sharpen up their ability.
Now, what about the notion? Can I ask you something, Martin? Because I hear this all the time, that people say that you can't give children too many vaccines because it overloads their system. Can you talk to that?
Well, I think I can, because they don't lather them into them straight away. The other thing is that it's like training. You're asking your immune system to get ready for a certain threat. And other parts of that system deal with other threats. So it's not like throwing everything at one person. It's like throwing everything at a number of people.
Right.
Those different people deal with different things. The same with your immune system. But if your immune system was as good as they claimed, if it could recognise new threats, why did so many tens, maybe hundreds of thousands of Indigenous peoples die from something as simple as a common cold? Why?
They've never been exposed.
Now, to be honest, as I said in my piece, they were living in a nature-dense environment. All right? They were eating lots of raw and unprocessed food.
Organic food, fresh water.
Exactly right. And yet they died like flies.
Of a common cold.
Of a common cold.
And the same with...
I think there was smallpox was used in America. I think we used something similar over here. Infected blankets. So
yeah. And of course it's the same. You look a couple of hundred years ago, people eating organic food, breathing fresh air, drinking fresh water, whatever, people out in the country, and they could die of a cut.
That's right. See, the thing, I get back to the nature caring for the species and not for the individual. Always remember that if our species died out, something would take over. Nature would
What would it be? Would it be dogs? Because they're not very bright. Who would tell them to sit?
I don't know. I don't think in any way that nature would mourn our passing.
No, nature doesn't care.
Well, it doesn't mourn the passing of any species. But even so, if we bring it back and say it's concerned with individual species, look at like plagues like we've had, bubonic plague, black plague.
Spanish flu.
All of those, there is always a certain amount of survivors. And those survivors go on to create a human being that is relatively resistant to that virus. Now, if you want to take the gamble at being with these big bad ones, of being the few that survive to propagate the species, as opposed to being the many that die, well, don't get vaccinated. But if you want to ensure your survival, then I think you should think about a bit of a needle. Always remember that most of the side effects that you may receive from a vaccination are merely a smaller dose
of what you would get
from the illness itself.
Yep.
So, they talk about myocarditis from the COVID.
Oh my God!
What was one of the major problems with COVID is the inflammation of
the heart,
the blood vessels in the heart.
Yep.
And the heart muscle itself, which is myocarditis.
And yet, I note that in my dealings with a certain member, I don't know if we're going to talk about any names here, are we? Mention it.
Give a bugger.
Yeah. I just don't know if it helps them. I don't want to spread their popularity. I know that when I intervened in the Rosemary Marshall down there in DY and took the pictures of the fake dead people at the Forest of the Fallen, her one comment about me was that I looked terrible and all those vaccine boosters clearly hadn't helped me. Which is like, I happen to, you may note that I'm alive, I am kicking, I lead a pretty well and functional life, and yet I've probably had, I have a flu vax every year, obviously. I've had have you had the shingles vax, Martin?
I am right now due. I'm underage, so 65 and up.
Oh, you're such a youthful thing.
I'm 62. I had a very mild dose of shingles a few years ago.
How was that?
Side of my head, hideous, but it was mild.
Yeah.
So I had my first Shingvax 3 months ago, and I literally have it in the diary for next week. So
Good.
To get the second.
I'm very pleased to hear that now, because there's very interesting data out that the shingles vaccine is, they think, is actually quite relevant in terms of preventing Alzheimer's. Now, I don't know why, because they don't know what causes dementia Alzheimer's. They're not, it's a very complicated issue. But apparently when they've looked at the data across portions of the population that have had 2 doses of the shingles vax, they note that the dementia Alzheimer's levels are lower.
Well, let's speculate. It's pure speculation.
Go.
And this is what you would do before you then decided to go and formulate a study and everything like that. So firstly, I would say that we have now found, and this is why I believe we were right in being so cautious about COVID, because viruses that we thought were innocuous, we have now found years ago, we've now found out for a certain number of the members of the population, there are consequences many years later. And some
like
of
what?
Those well, what is it? There's an encephalitis that can come from measles 40
100%.
years later.
Yep.
And the shingles is from, is it chickenpox?
So the shingles is from chickenpox, absolutely.
Right.
And I think there's also been, sorry.
In your nerve roots there.
Yeah.
Resides there, it never goes away. And that's why when it comes out on a dermatome. So whatever nerve root, that area that nerve root supplies, that is where shingles manifests. Now,
what's a dermata? Can you tell me what a dermata is?
Is the area of skin that a certain nerve root supplies. So you tap a certain area and the nerves there, the nerve endings supply the nerve root, take it to your brain, and that is the way your brain knows where that sensation is coming from. It's a little bit more complex than that, but that's...
I sort of get it.
You've got dermatomes, you've got myotomes. Myotomes are muscles that the nerves that innervate. But when that shingles activates, it's along that, and that's why, side of the head, around the ribs, all of that. It's not all over you.
I think you know someone, do you not? I remember another conversation where you said you know someone that went blind from it.
Yeah, because theirs actually included, it come over the eye, and they ended up with an ulcer in the eye, and quite extensive scarring.
Poor thing.
Very painful. But let's go on with this speculation, and my speculation is that I believe if Shingvax has an associated relationship with your ability, your unfortunateness in getting dementia.
Alzheimer's, yep.
Yeah, Alzheimer's, then one might think that the chicken pox you had might be in some way that causes shingles, might in some way also be contributing to that
the brain, because they don't really know, do they?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that would be like, from my point of view.
Yeah,
you find an associative relationship.
Yeah,
then you'd say, right, well, what are the possibilities? And then you go and test for it. So to me, it would be, well, Shingvax, is something that stops that virus from causing shingles.
Yeah.
Maybe it's that virus that actually does cause Alzheimer's.
Well, I know
this is where studies and research
is so important. I know there was an interest. There was talk for a while. It might have died down, but they were also looking at the herpes simplex that causes cold sores. This. It is interesting that these things often occur
once again
on the
resides in those nerve ganglion. Once it's there, it's always there, and it comes out every so often. So, again, these are viruses we got many years ago, and they have long-term effects. So when a new virus appears, it's not just a matter of you getting sick and getting over it. It's what has it planted? What booby trap has it left in your body?
Oh, it's so scary.
I know, and this is why for everyone that said, oh, they did this, they did that, they did something else, I actually maintain that overreach with the new virus is better than under-rich.
Me too.
Because I keep saying that many years ago I heard a scientist say, in his opinion, and I can't remember who it was, but the human race would not end with a nuclear blast, it would end with a virus.
That's made my stomach turn over.
It worries me every time. And what makes me even more sure that this is the case is the stupidity, the utter stupidity of an increasing number of our population.
Yep. And this is what I think we are up against it. And I don't know if you've heard of him, but Nick Tiller, he's an exercise scientist, and he's just written a book about the dangers of wellness, because the dangers of wellness, supplements and the whole thing absolutely feed into this notion that anything preventative in terms of disease that comes from pharmaceuticals is dangerous, toxic and unnatural, whereas anything that comes from the sugar, anything that comes from the supplement end of things is natural and is just going to support your natural immune system. And he does very, very interesting work, Nick. He takes things, Nick Tiller, I'll put him in the show notes at the end. He's fantastic. And he takes apart these memes that then get propagated across all the influencers and takes it apart and goes, this is pointless. And he reckons that 99% of supplements are useless. 99%. Yeah.
Look, I've seen it even like back in my football career, people taking these things that were supposed to make them better. And I always maintain, if you need protein, eat protein. Like, you don't have to have the extra stuff. You know? But what is also important, and I don't know whether we should bring it up now or another time, but I'm going to.
Do it, Martin.
Is this business about, they've got to the point with viruses and things like that where there's a cohort that doesn't believe that they even exist.
I know.
And what's worse is they're saying that what they find at the site, and even germs don't exist, what they're finding at the site of wounds and everything like that is those things have turned up there to clean up. They're not causing the issue.
What?
The issue
like
is
what?
Your body is not healthy enough to do it itself, and they're turning up to try and help rather than, hey, shit, you've got a staph infection, it's going to kill you. No, that staph infection has merely turned up because your body is not, hasn't eaten enough supplements, therefore it's, can't look after itself. Here, buy these. I will sell you these,
And then, yeah. Well, I know there's a terrible amount of disinformation, deliberate disinformation about cancer.
To know how weird these characters are.
Yeah.
And I used to delight in showing people this. Go and look. I haven't heard of him much lately, but back before, David Avocado Wolf.
I know David Avocado Wolf.
Right. Watch his clip on chocolate.
I know. Man.
Energy from the sun. It's the sun's. And if you can watch that and come away and not think the man's a raving lunatic.
He's a rich raving lunatic.
Well, if you can come away and not realise that he is, mate, you're far down that track, and just stay away from me. He was one of the foundations.
He was.
All of this.
David Avocado Wolf was a bit the start of it.
And I used to be able to rattle their names off, like back in the before COVID on different things. What's the other one? It's there's some. He calls himself a doctor. And surprisingly enough, most of these so-called doctors from the US are chiropractors.
They are.
They have lost their way.
Yeah, everything comes from subluxations. Then everything, apparently, and if you're a chiropractor, everything comes from subluxations. And there's also you can always pick the grifters, because unlike a doctor, or a specialist who's going to tell you that what you have is complex. They will tell you it's really simple, and they can fix that. They can fix your skin. They can fix your asthma. They can fix your cancer. They can make you thin. They can straighten your hair. They can do whatever.
This is the root cause of it, Annie, and I put it on our little group. Life is scary. There are lots of things out there, and to cope with those lots of things, you've got to do lots of different things, and you don't know which way it's coming. Like, all of a sudden, if you believe in a certain thing or what a certain person is saying, you can put all of those things in the box.
And you feel better.
You do these one or two things that they have told you.
Yep.
And you don't have to worry anymore.
And the other, that's right. And of course, yep, it's simple. Yep.
You've run out away from your responsibilities and you've handed them over to someone else. It's like, I don't have to worry because my dad knows everything.
Yeah, it is. It's very infantile, and I think we've talked about this before, but the notion that anecdote has far more influence than data, because our brains are configured to listen to stories. It's how we calibrate the world. And this interesting notion about the survivorship bias, which I really like, that if one combat plane comes back from combat, then everything's fine. Everyone's going to come back because they survived it. And it's like it's like some old codger that's, spent, 80 years sitting on his balcony smoking cigarettes and, drinking whiskey all day, and he's fine. So what's the fuss about cigarettes? He's okay.
My answer to that is always, where are your classmates?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly.
It's funny you talked about that plane, and it kind of does tie in. And this shows how people can look at things the wrong way. And I'm not sure, you'll probably be aware of it, but during the Second World War, they were looking at fighters that came back, or planes that came back. And they looked at where these planes had the most damage, the most bullet holes and whatever. And they said, we need to armour those areas. And one bright spark, and I can't remember his name, said, no, we don't. He said, because those planes are damaged in those areas, but they came back. He said the planes with damage in those other areas,
they didn't
not come back.
Yes.
We need to armour the parts of the plane that correspond with the least amount of damage.
Not the most.
Not the most. And it worked.
Interesting.
And that's survivor bias. This plane got back.
Therefore,
all these bullet holes, so we've got to do this. Well, it's kind of not, but it's kind of the same.
It is.
But let's just say it was a bullet through. Well, what they found was planes were coming back with one or two bullets through an engine, but they got back.
Yep.
Whereas they had all these bullets through fuselage, and they said, right, we've got to armour the fuselage. No, because there are a shitload of planes that didn't come back, and they're all the ones that got bullets through the engine.
Yeah, that's right.
Tell you what,
you wouldn't have wanted to be a rear gunner, would you, in the Second World War?
The worst, I think, I can't remember the plane, the belly gunners?
I do.
They're in that Perspex bubble that hung beneath the plane.
Oh, man.
To get in, once they got in, if it turned, they couldn't get out.
Oh, terrible.
You couldn't fit. And if the hydraulics in the plane went, it couldn't turn enough for you to get out. You were there, and there were cases where if they couldn't lower the undercarriage and they landed, you were obliterated.
Yep.
So that was I know it sounds a bit funny. I was a bit different as a kid too. I wonder about the spectrum myself, but I used to be a voracious reader about that, and not because I was in any way fascinated by war, but I was just fascinated by the way they worked things out, the way they got around obstacles, and what they had to do it.
Yep.
Stories about Weary Dunlop sharpening a spoon, the edge of a spoon, and gouging out tropical ulcers, debriding them, all of that sort of thing. Yeah, fascinated me, absolutely fascinated me.
Yeah, I must confess I do find that fascinating as well. And we've now severely segued into a strange World War II discussion, but that's fine. So I just wanted, before we wrap up, I just want to reiterate that we understand that if you are a new parent, and we all have terrible anxieties as new parents, especially with if it's your first child, it can be terrifying. It's new. You don't have a roadmap. Nobody tells you how to do this. But we can only say to you, trust the science.
I have two things to say. So the first is that when I would get someone coming in with a knee reconstruction and I'd be telling them what to do and they'd say, but, and I'd say, listen, you've had one, I've had thousands.
Yes.
Now, I didn't have one, but I've treated thousands. It's the same when you have that first baby. And
yep.
I was lucky enough to be with my oldest daughter in the room when she had my first grandchild.
Oh, really?
Because her partner wouldn't go in, I went in, and she trusted me. So, but what I'd say to a new parent is that is your first baby. The people that are around you, the doctors, the nurses, the pediatricians have had thousands. They are proud people.
Yep.
And they hate losing anyone.
Yep.
Trust them.
Trust them.
And the other thing I want to say slightly off, before you cut me off, I want to do a plug.
A play?
There are two members of our group.
Oh, plug. Yep.
That are great, our little group, that are great people.
Yep.
And need to get following. This is on Facebook.
Yep.
Now, one is a woman called Annie McCubbin.
Yes.
And what I'm saying is anyone out there that listens to this needs to go to her Facebook site and follow it.
Yes, please.
Follow it. She puts good stuff up. The other one is our friend Jess.
Yes, she's fantastic.
Her site is called House of Hex Data.
Yep.
HEXDATTER. Or
yep.
like I like to say, House of Stuff. Now, she's had a couple of pages nuked. She's on other platforms. She's trying to get going again on Facebook. Does some really good stuff.
She's amazing.
House of Hacks Data.
Yeah.
And
Annie McCubbin.
Follow.
Give us a follow. I'm getting up there. It is improving, but of course I've done so little. Until I joined my little cohort of friends, all I'd done was pretty much write books and record the podcast, which is great. And I must say, I do appreciate that my listenership has increased markedly, and I thank you all for making the effort to tune in every week and listen to some reason and science, because we are, well, Martin and I think we're in a little bit of a war at the moment, trying to, maybe a battle or a war, more like a war, trying to battle the disinformation that is absolutely endangering our societies. We don't want it to happen. We need to get this scientific, reasonable information out so that people make reasoned decisions, not listening to somebody, who's has no idea about science and just has a confident attitude and, I don't know, some sort of yoga pose. And something to sell, which is often themselves. So on that note, thank you, Martin, for joining me. I think we did well. My hair, is it my hair?
My hair.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll talk about your hair I think we'll give a little chat about that later when we've cut. Listen, thanks for the compliments. I'm filled with, I don't know, I feel great now. And I'm jet lagged and everything. I think I'm amazing. Okay. So thank you so much, Martin Bella. And thank you so much to my very, very kind and attentive listeners. And as always, stay safe, stay well, keep your critical thinking hats on. See you later. Bye. Thanks for tuning into Why Smart Women with me, Annie McCubbin. I hope today's episode has ignited your curiosity and left you feeling inspired by my anti-motivational style. Join me next time as we continue to unravel the fascinating layers of our brains and develop ways to sort out the fact from the fiction and the over 6,000 thoughts we have in the course of every day. Remember, intelligence isn't enough. You can be as smart as paint, But it's not just about what you know, it's about how you think. And in all this talk of whether or not you can trust your gut, if you ever feel unsafe, whether it's in the street, at work, in a car park, in a bar, or in your own home, please respect that gut feeling. Staying safe needs to be our primary objective. We can build better lives, but we have to stay safe to do that. And don't forget to subscribe, rate and review the podcast and share it with your fellow smart women and allies. Together we're hopefully reshaping the narrative around women and making better decisions. So until next time, stay sharp, stay savvy, and keep your critical thinking hat shiny. This is Annie McCubbin signing off from Why Smart Women. See you later. This episode was produced by Harrison Hess. It was executive produced and written by me, Annie McCubbin. Thanks for tuning into Why Smart Women with me, Annie McCubbin. I hope today's episode has ignited your curiosity and left you feeling inspired by my anti-motivational style. Join me next time as we continue to unravel the fascinating layers of our brains and develop ways to sort out the fact from the fiction and the over 6,000 thoughts we have in the course of every day. Remember, intelligence isn't enough. You can be as smart as paint, but it's not just about what you know, it's about how you think. And in all this talk of whether or not you can trust your gut, if you ever feel unsafe, whether it's in the street, at work, in a car park, in a bar, or in your own home, please respect that gut feeling. Staying safe needs to be our primary objective. We can build better lives, but we have to stay safe to do that. And don't forget to subscribe, rate and review the podcast and share it with your fellow smart women and allies. Together we're hopefully reshaping the narrative around women and making better decisions. So until next time, stay sharp, stay savvy, and keep your critical thinking hat shiny. This is Annie McCubbin signing off from Why Smart Women. See you later. This episode was produced by Harrison Hess. It was executive produced and written by me, Annie McCubbin.